assign one IP address to interface of router 192.168.1.1 in this range. Okay, in most cases for router we are using the 0.119. In the host ID can be assigned by one, but it is optional, it's not mandatory. About the network B, I'm going to use these addresses. Look at here, you know that because this is another network, we need to assign the addresses with the different three first octet. For example, for C5 I'm using 192.168.2.11, and for C6 I'm using 192.168.2, okay, 12. For C7 I'm using 192.168.2.13, and for C8 computer 8 I'm using 192.168.2.14. Why? Because you know that these computers are residing in different networks and they should use different network ID. Let me to show you. Here we have 192.168, for example 1, okay, the 11, and because this is the class C IP address, because 192 is between the 192 and 223, we have three first octets as the network octets, and the last octet is the host octet. Okay, because of that we need to use the same three first octet in the computers in these networks, and also different first three octets in the computer C5, C6, C7 and C8. And as you can see here, I use 192.168.1.11, and here I used 192.168.2.11. Three first octet are different. And let me to say that here we have this part as the network part, and this is the host part, you know it, okay, also in another IP address. Okay, very good. Until now we learned how we can send traffic from C1 to C2 with the source IP of 192.168.1.11, destination IP 192.168.1.12. This is the first, the intra network communication, or for unicast communication. Look at here, also this is the IP address of this interface 192.168, for example, to 1, the IP address of router in these networks. Very good. I'm going to show you first the local broadcast. What is the local broadcast? When you want to send traffic to all of the systems in your network, you are using the local broadcast. Look at here. The local broadcast has a specific reserved IP address that is 255.255.255.255. You know that this is one of the class E IP address because this is started with the 255. This means that when you are sending from, for example, C1 or any other PC, a traffic with the source of unicast IP address 192.168.1.11 to the quad 255, this is the local broadcast packet. This packet, okay, should forward it from C1, okay, and because this is this packet now is sending to the specific reserved IP address of the local broadcast, only it should receive to other systems in this network. Look at here, to the, for example, C4, when a traffic is sent to the for example 192 to the quad 255, all of the other PCs in this network should accept it. Look at here. Here, this is for PC3 and also to the PC2. Let me to show you. And also this traffic can be received with the router 1. Let me to show you. This is the router 1 traffic, but router 1 doesn't forward this packet to the other networks, to the, for example, 192.168.2 network. Why? Because this is local broadcast. This means that when we are sending a traffic to the destination of quad 255, that traffic should be forwarded to the all of the PCs, all of the hosts in, for example, in these networks, in our network. And the router doesn't forward this broadcast to the other networks. This means that this is local broadcast. Local means only in our network. Okay, don't forget, okay, if for example now C4 has this IP address 192.168.1.14, this is the unicast IP address of the C4, but all of the PCs, all of the hosts beside of their unicast IP address have this IP address quad 255. Because of that, all of the PCs should accept the this packet broadcast. Okay, broadcast. And this means that each PC in a network has one unicast IP address and also this local broadcast IP address. If anybody asks you what is the local broadcast, you can say quad 255. Okay, and what is the usage of the local broadcast? To sending traffic to all of systems in our networks, we can use local broadcast. This is the first type of broadcast. Okay, but also we have another type of broadcast. We call it directed broadcast. What is the directed broadcast? Okay, and what is the IP address of the directed broadcast? Let me to talk about first the IP address of the directed broadcast. Look at here. You know that in one IP address, okay, we have some part of that IP as network ID, okay, and other part as host ID. You know it. You can find the network ID and host ID with the classes rules. If you are assigning all of the bits in host ID with 1, you have one directed IP, one directed broadcast IP address. Let me to talk about this. Look at here. Assume that we are using 192.168.2.x, okay, 211, 212, 213, 214. And this is the class C IP address. And in class C IP address, we have 3 first octet as the network octet and the last octet as the host octet. Okay, when you are using in the host octet, okay, all of the bits of host octet as 1, you will have this IP address 192.168.2.255. Why? Because if you are using in host bit all of the bits as 1, you will have 8 bits of 1, and the 8 bits of 1 means 255. Okay, 255. Now, if you send a traffic to this network, let me to show you. Look at here. Let me to change the color. Here, for example, we have the traffic from 192.168.1.11 to the 192.168.2.255. Okay. As you can see here we don't have this IP address, but this traffic can be forwarded to the router, and the router should forward the traffic to the other networks, because as you can see, this is received for 192.168.2. The traffic now is forwarding to these networks, and this traffic now can be accepted with all of the PCs here, because this is a directed broadcast. Directed broadcast means we are directing the broadcast to the network we want. You know that in local broadcast, we don't send the traffic for the computers into the other networks. But in directed broadcast, we can direct the broadcast to the destination network that we want. Okay, for example, to 192.168.2. And because of that, for directed broadcast, we need to use the network ID of the network that we want to send broadcast to that networks. And in host bits, we are using 255. This means now you learn about another things. This means that each PC in a network has one unicast IP address 192.168.1.14 and also one broadcast IP address, and also each PC should accept the traffic to the, for example, its directed broadcast address 192.168.1.255. Okay, this is unicast. Okay, this is directed broadcast or another type of broadcast. Here, as you can see, the PC with the IP address of 192.168.2.14 now is accepting the traffic to 192.168.2.255 because this is sent to directed broadcast. And directed broadcast means all of the systems in these networks. Okay. Let me to compare these two types of broadcast. The first type, local broadcast, has one specific assigned IP address, okay, from class E quad 255. And when you are using this IP address in the destination IP of a network, only the systems in your network should receive the traffic. And the router doesn't forward the traffic to the other networks because this is local broadcast. But when you are using the directed broadcast means in the host ID of the, for example, address, you are using all of the bits as 1, and now we have directed broadcast. This address cannot be assigned to one system. You can't assign 192.168.2.255 to C8 because this is the address of directed broadcast, okay? Because of that, the traffic can be forwarded with router 1, and all systems in the destination